Hi there, it's Ian here, and I'm going to start a series of videos about how to make reeds for shawms. Shawms are Renaissance wind instruments. If you don't know what they are, this is probably not the right place for you. I can probably make another video to explain what a shawm is. Please write to me and beg me to do it, otherwise I might not get around to it. This is a shawm. It's a Renaissance, a copy of a Renaissance instrument. This is a larger one, an alto shawm, and the reed we're going to make will fit both of those instruments. This is a reed for a soprano or an alto shawm. The reed looks a bit like this, and it will fit any size of soprano shawm in C, in D, at A440, A466. It'll fit any type of alto shawm. At least that's the experience that I have made in my long experience of these things. So this is the reed we're going to make. And what do we need to make this? And this is the purposes of the first part of the video. Well, there are three categories of things we need. First category, things that you probably have in your house anyway, or in your flat, where you live. Secondly, things that you might not have, but you'll be able to get from some kind of hobby shop or electrical suppliers or do-it-yourself shop in your area. And the third category of things are the things you're going to have to order, or go to a very specialist shop. If you've got a specialist music shop for making reeds for oboes, or more specifically for bassoons, then you can get it there. But there are places where you can order it online. I'll give you an address in a minute. And I'm going to come clean to begin with. If you have an experience of reed making, you will know, or if an experience of reeds or any sort of instrument, you will know that this is the stuff that the reeds are made of, usually. It's a type of cane that's grown in Italy, Spain, south of France, around the Mediterranean. It's called arundodonax, and this is a cylinder, it's a tube of that material. We're not going to start with this tube. We're not going to do that. I can give you advice how to do that. I can do another video, beg me to do it, and I'll show you how to do it. But there are various parts of this that are very complicated, and we're going to skip that and start with this. This is a piece of cane that has been gouged and profiled for making modern bassoon reeds. And you might say, oh, what's modern bassoon reeds got to do with Renaissance shawms? Well, I have an answer to that question. Believe me, it works. It gives you a good reed most of the time if you do it properly. And if you have a little tiny bit of luck, you will be able to get a good reed out of modern bassoon cane, and it's relatively readily available. So that's a practical solution. So what are these things that you need then? From your own house. First thing, very important, glass of water. Doesn't matter what the glass looks like. Doesn't matter about whether the water's new, old, or whatever. Glass of water. Pair of scissors. Don't have to be too big. Probably bigger than that I wouldn't go for. Small pair of scissors. A pencil. Very important. It's one of your main tools for making reeds, and it has to be sharp. If your pencil is not sharp, go and get a good point on it immediately. I guarantee the sharper the pencil, the better the reed will be. It sounds stupid, but it's absolutely true. The sharper the pencil, the better the reed, the better the reed, the better the music you will make from it. And the other thing you probably have already is a ruler. Well, you might not have one of these metal rulers. Metal ones are better than plastic, but if you've only got a plastic one and you want to get started, well, use your plastic ruler. The metal rulers have thinner markings on them. The plastic ones are rather thick, so you get more accuracy with the metal one. And that's highly recommended. So what are the things you need to get probably from some kind of shop if you haven't got them already? Well, first thing, and the most important tool for any player of any reed instrument, whether it's bassoon or oboe or shawm, crumhorn, any of these things, is a pair of pliers. And if you haven't got a pair of pliers and you reckon you're a reed player, then go and get one straight away, because even if you don't make your own reeds, you need these in order to adjust them, to do any kind of twiddling on your reeds to make them play better. And what you want to look for is something like an electrician's pliers. And the point about this is that the jaws here at the end are thin. They're about 2 or 3 millimeters thick at the end here. I'm talking about the width here. and they have a cutter for cutting wire. And it's a good idea if you're going to go to a shop and get one to try it out with a piece of wire and cut the end off. And if it cuts nice and cleanly like this without a struggle, then that's the thing for you. If you have to struggle and move the thing around and before it cuts, then put that back on the shelf and try another one. They do vary. Some are sharper than others, even of the same make. Get a one that cuts really well, and you will get better reeds, and you will be able to play better music. So, pair of pliers, very, very important, even if you're not making your own reeds. Second thing you might have to go and get is a knife. And this is a cheap cutting knife from a do-it-yourself shop. It's even lost the end. I don't know what happened to that. I don't use it myself, but if you want to get started, this is probably quite a good way to do it. What you've got to look out for is that it's sharp. Well, most of these things are sharp, and that it's thin here. It's very flat here. It doesn't open out into a wide kind of shape, and that it's also narrow from the blade to the back. This is about less than a centimetre wide, which is good. If it's too wide, you can't make a good reed. I've tried making reeds with other kinds of knives, with old razors. Razors are absolutely wonderfully sharp, but they are too wide in this direction. So you need one a bit more like this. This is a kind of good starter. It is something that you will put aside when you get good at this, and you will want to buy yourself a better reed making knife. I've tried all sorts of things, and I do recommend getting a specialist reed making knife. I've tried pen knives, I've tried, as I said, shaving knives, but the ones that are made by good firms specifically for making reeds, there is a good reason why they do that. So that's something you want to invest in the future, but anything like this will do to start with. And the third thing that you might have to get from a local hobby shop or something is a piece of sandpaper, 100 grain, 150, 180, nothing coarser than 100. And above 180 doesn't really do very much. So a piece of sandpaper, doesn't have to be very big. This is an old bit that torn off somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. If you have a bicycle repair kit, there's usually a piece of sandpaper in that. I have plundered many a bicycle repair kit for sandpaper for my reeds. That's quite a good thing. And the third category, as promised, are things that you are going to have to order, which is why when I've told you what this third category is, I'm going to stop the film now, because you might have to wait for the things to arrive. You have to go and get them or order them online or whatever. And these are the following. Very important, you will need a mandrel. It's a specialist piece of equipment for making reeds. It's a metal tube which has been ground down to a cone with a handle. It's very simple. And you can make them yourselves. You can get a piece of steel about 6 millimeters in diameter, put it in an electric drill and file it down using a file. You can make that yourself and put a handle on it. I did this myself. But if you're not kind of handy like that, you will have to order it from a specialist shop. And what you want is a bassoon mandrel, the thinnest possible bassoon mandrel that supplier has. The supplier that I'm going to recommend has these things, and it's his thinnest one. It needs to be about 2 or 3 millimeters wide at this end, and widening to 5 millimeters about 2 centimeters behind the end. It has to have that kind of conicity. And that's the first important thing that you will need. The second thing you need to order, you can't do without it, is wire. And this is wire for making bassoon reeds, for making modern bassoon reeds, and the diameter of this is 0.6 millimeter. If you have other wire with other dimensions, forget it. I've tried everything, and it's brass wire, 0.6 millimeters for bassoon making. You can also get this stuff at hobby shops for making jewelry and stuff. It doesn't work. It's not soft enough. The stuff that they sell for making reeds has been specially annealed so that it's very pliable. You can bend it backwards and forwards. It doesn't break. It doesn't lose its shape. And it is absolutely worth ordering this stuff from, or getting it from a specialist shop. 0.6 millimeter diameter, soft annealed brass wire for modern bassoon. That's what the modern bassoonists use to make their stuff. Thread. You need some thread, and while you're ordering other stuff from a specialist shop or going to a shop and getting it, you might as well get the thread as well. This is cotton thread, and its diameter is also between 0.6 and 0.7 millimeters. Cotton is important. I've tried using flax, I've tried using hemp, I've tried using other stuff, and it's too hard. Cotton has this softness, it bends around. It's the only thing I've found that works. Silk breaks too easily. Cotton's the stuff you need. I don't know what they used in the Renaissance. They must have used something else, but well, we've got cotton, we might as well use that. So cotton thread, it doesn't have to come from a specialist supplier. Well, it has to come from some sort of supplier. I've got this stuff from a shoemaking suppliers. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what the color is, where you get it. But as I say, while you're ordering stuff from your specialist reed supplier, you might as well order thread as well, that you can be sure to have the right stuff. And last but not least, the cane for making the reed. So this is, as I said before, profiled and gouged cane for a modern bassoon. I've tried Baroque bassoon cane, I've tried oboe cane, it doesn't work. The modern bassoon cane works the best for me. It doesn't matter how long it is. This length is not irrelevant because we're going to shorten it anyway. What's relevant is the length between these two shoulders, the actual profiled bit, and this is exactly 6 centimeters, or 60 millimeters. I've tried shorter and longer profiles and they don't work so well. 60 millimeters is the length for me. And the width is also irrelevant, but there's a standard width because this is a quarter of a tube. So it's gouged, which means that the inside of the tube has been taken away. It's profiled, which means that the outside has also been scraped into this particular shape. It's very detailed work. They do it very well. And again, I can give you the name of a supplier for this. There is one other thing you might want, and that is a cutting block. You can, of course, cut on the edge of the table. You will need to actually cut on the edge. But if you want to keep your table for doing other things, then you need a block. You can cut a piece of doweling and sandpaper the top into a sort of slightly domed shape. That's what I did with this. But again, if you're ordering stuff from a specialist supplier and you haven't got a piece of round tubing to do that with, then you might as well get a cutting block, which they sell for oboe and bassoon making. It's usually got a bit of rubber on the bottom so it doesn't slide around. It doesn't really matter too much. Any sort of block will do, but as I say, if you're ordering stuff, you might want to order that as well. The place where I order these things is a firm in Germany, where I live, and it's called Georg Rieger, and they have an internet address, Georg Rieger as one word, GeorgRieger.com. They've got a web shop in English. I don't get any commission from them. Maybe I should do, but I don't. And they I'm very pleased with the service. It's very quick. The stuff is good. Price is okay. And this particular type of gouged and profiled cane that I use really does work. I've tried others and most of them work as well, but this gives me consistent results. So those are the things you need to make reeds. I'm going to stop there because, as I said, you might have to go out and get these things before you go further. So I'll see you again whenever. I hope you enjoyed it. Write me a comment, give me a like. Isn't that what you say when you're making YouTube videos or whatever? And I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye. Good luck.